Infiniti, luxury arm of Nissan, been around since 1989, just like myself. But the last couple of years has been rough for Infiniti. Sales have dropped by more than 50%, but they have a plan now, a three-phase plan to bring them back to glory. Will it be enough? Let's find out. We're over at Automotive News. They have the scoop here. Infiniti QX80 redesign will shine as the center of the brand makeover. We'll talk about that today. We'll talk about the three-pronged approach. Infiniti is also rolling into a brand campaign that will include a new look for dealerships, a new design language for vehicles, and a flurry of accents for customer touchpoints, such as a signature Infiniti sound. We'll talk about that all today. Make sure you have your snacks and drinks. If you like Japanese and Korean auto news, make sure to subscribe. And let's get into it. Outlining the plan publicly for the first time, Infiniti chairman Payman Kargar told Automotive News the campaign will kick off this fiscal year and develop a more consistent and sophisticated brand image. Yes, the girl just slid some cards underneath the door for me. Quite beautiful. This is from my daughter Eve. Unicorns sitting on rainbows and flowers, and that must be a mermaid and fish. That's pretty good. She's getting pretty good. And this is from my 4-year-old Reggie. All those hearts and stars. More fishies. She spelled her name. How sweet. Anyways, let's get back into Infiniti. Gosh. Last card and then we'll get into it. Mermaid. That's a pretty good one. Actually, we have like a kitty cat mermaid as well. Maybe a puppy dog mermaid. All right, let's look at the sales numbers that Automotive News has chalked up for us. So Infiniti global sales, they don't operate in Europe anymore. So their sales are like China, Middle East, Central, maybe South America, as well as North America. In 2019, sold 188,000 vehicles. In 2021, 84,000 vehicles. In the US, 117,000 to 58,000. And the QX80, which is the vehicle to start off their whole new design language inside and out, and kind of the first step into a new Infiniti, has been declining as well, but it hasn't been as sharp as a decline on the QX80 for it has for the rest of the lineup. The QX80, of course, is going to age better, body on frame vehicle, classic V8 that thing can tow a mountain. If you haven't watched my review on its brother, the Nissan Armada, make sure to check that out. Love the Armada, especially in that platinum trim, which makes the QX80 pretty much irrelevant in my opinion. So there are three phases, right? The first stage focused on recovery and stabilization and wrapped up in March with record profitability for the Infiniti business on a global level. Infiniti has now entered phase 2, which centers on the brand renewal and expansion, and this project will run through March 31st, 2026. This second stage will set the stage for electrification and possibly entry into new segments. I've always said, I wish we had our flagships for the Infiniti brand have some sort of Nissan GTR-like vehicle, breakneck performance and luxury in the lineup, and we've never had it here stateside. Kargar is saying we have a healthy base today and we're ready for more growth. I don't know if it's a healthy base because their volume has just been stripped. Over 50%, that doesn't sound like a good base. And we're going to grow from this year and year after year. I believe that. I mean, Infiniti went from, if we look at the sales, if we look at like their sales in 2012, which this isn't accurate, I'm pretty sure. 2013 here is accurate. So they went from 86,000 to 153,000 in a matter of like 5 years. That is incredible. I think we've reached the low here. I think 2022, we'll start to see this rebound, especially with the QX60, the new one being a little bit more available than it was last year. Now, Kargar didn't want to talk about sales targets. That's very smart and wise because you don't want to overpromise and underdeliver, essentially. Saying that he only wants steady, sustainable growth. Chasing volume, he said, is what initially tipped Infiniti into trouble with the depleted product line and a tumbling turnover. And that was, of course, in the Carlos Ghosn years, so the only thing mattered was volume, volume, volume. The brand was then throttled by COVID, whatever, so was everyone, and the global semiconductor shortage. Yep. The global sales plunged 55% to 84,000 vehicles last year from 188,000 in 2019 before the pandemic. And like I said earlier, US sales fell by more than half. And we mentioned Carlos Ghosn earlier. He had previously set a goal for Infiniti to account for 10% of the industry's global luxury market, racking up annual sales of 500,000 vehicles. At one point, the plan called for Infiniti to be a pioneer in luxury electric vehicles, getting an EV based on the Nissan Leaf on sale in 2014. That never happened. What would have happened if they did, though? Things would have been very, very different from them. Better, I don't know, but definitely different for the brand. Instead, Infiniti's global volume peaked at 249,000 vehicles in 2018. And its first dedicated electric vehicle made in Camp, Mississippi won't arrive until 2025. And it's a sedan. It's not even a crossover. Meanwhile, Nissan has the Ariya available in Japan, but it's been delayed by over a year here stateside. So who knows when exactly that vehicle will be available in volume here in the States, let alone everywhere in the world. And yeah, Nissan gets that attention. The Ariya is definitely luxury-like in terms of amenities and design inside and out, but Infiniti doesn't get that priority for some reason. And instead, we have to wait at least another 3 years to not only get an electric vehicle, but a sedan, which sedan EVs, as we even look at Tesla, the Model 3 doesn't have the same demand as the Model Y. Crossovers are the name of the game. So phase 3 of the midterm strategy begins in the fiscal year starting April 2026. It will focus on building an electrified portfolio and considering new segments. We already know Infiniti has stated that they want to have the majority of their vehicles sold by 2030 that are electric. An entry-level crossover is one possibility for a new model type. Well, they had an entry-level crossover, and that was the QX30, right? That was shared with the GLA Mercedes, GLA 250, and they axed it. Are they saying there's going to be an entry-level crossover that's an EV, or is it just going to be an entry-level crossover? We don't have clarification on that. Dealers say a two-row coupe-style crossover in size of range of the QX60 is also on the drawing board. We've heard about this, but I'm not sure if it's fully electric either, which it doesn't need to be, but we have no idea what's underpinning the future vehicles for Infiniti. So let's go back to phase 2 here that we're currently in, that goes till 2026. There will be a brand update and will be unveiled in full toward the end of this fiscal year. So that could be as late as, like, say, March of 2023. It will include a styling update for a new face on upcoming models. The QX80 will be one of those first models to get it. Also on tap is a new dealership identity for retail facilities. CarGurus says this will only be a recommendation for future build-outs, not a remodeling imposed on existing stores. So again, asking dealers who don't have product to sell, or should I say new product to sell, asking them to invest millions and millions of dollars to revision their dealerships. Hopefully the dealers have some idea of product before they start this investment. And then lastly, it will include branding of touch points for sensory connection to Infiniti, such as a brand scent for showrooms and galleries. Lexus has a brand scent, smells amazing. I wouldn't mind having it in my office. It's not easy to get though. I think you might have to order it from like the parts at a Lexus dealership. It smells great, but apparently they're going to have a new brand scent for Infiniti, whatever. Another example, sound signature, a form of sonic branding that will sound on Infiniti apps, website, or call centers. This will also be probably at the beginning or end of commercials that we see for the brand. I guess that's important, but not really. What's important is product, and we just don't have new product. So they're saying this effort begins with the next generation QX80, which could land in late 2023 or early 2024. So we're at least a year and a half away from the QX80, the new one, coming out. Infiniti will preview the design with the near production concept of the QX80 monograph this fiscal year. So that could be March again. And that will probably coincide with what we saw up here, where they'll give us a brand update in full towards the end of this fiscal year. So probably at the same time, they'll show us the new QX80 monograph, which would be the second monograph. We saw the QX60 monograph, which was really, really similar to the production version of the QX60. So saying expect a bigger profile for Infiniti's biggest vehicle. Does that mean the vehicle is going to be bigger, or just like a more luxurious and distinct stance to it? It's hard to tell. This car will be a flagship of the company. Okay, so of course it's the most expensive vehicle. They said it currently comes with a 5.6 liter V8. Of course, it's a great engine. Make sure to watch my Nissan Armada review. Really love that vehicle, which is the same thing as the QX80. The thing is, what are they going to do for the new powertrain? Lexus, Toyota got away from the 5.7 liter V8. Is Nissan, do they have a twin turbo V6 that's not the 3 liter that'll slot into this vehicle? I don't think so. I think they're just going to tune the 3 liter to slot inside of the new QX80. That's my guess. I just don't see the V8 sticking around, which is a shame because I really love the V8. Anyways, Infiniti is ramping up the premium performance specs in the QX80 to further distance the vehicle away from the Nissan Armada. So maybe we'll have 450 horsepower. It's really hard to say. Maybe they could put the GTR engine. No, the GTR engine is handmade. It's not happening unless they find some way to mass produce that larger V6 turbo. The goal is to raise awareness of the QX80, make it a stronger contender in the luxury segment against its rivals such as the Escalade, Lexus LX, and Land Rover Range Rover. And they reiterate that the third gen QX80 will be the first model with the new design language inside and out. A summary of the three-step transition again, phase 1 is done already. We're into phase 2. It'll last another 3 years, essentially 3 or 4 years to 2026. And then after that is Electrify and Diversify and going electric. So let's talk maybe a little bit about the third phase again. The EV sedan coming in 2025 out of Canton, Mississippi will replace and succeed. Well, it says it's to succeed the Q50 sedan. It still could be called the Q50. The Q50, as we know, it has been around since 2013. It's the only sedan in the lineup after the Q70 was killed. Phase 2 will also see a refresh / redesign in the QX50. We can only hope that they ditch the CVT, made it to the excellent VC turbo engine. Make sure to watch my QX55 review. Love the engine. Transmission is not bad either. It's just not luxury worthy in my opinion. So QX50, get a redesign, looks great with this new styling inside and out. Give it the 9-speed automatic that it deserves. QX55 being added to Mexico and China, while the QX60 is being introduced to Mexico and the Middle East. I guess, I mean, we don't even have the volume we need here for those vehicles here stateside. But CarGar is saying the dealers are happy, but their question is whether we're going to continue in a healthy way in the future. Exactly what we're going to do. He's promising the dealers that it's going to be a healthy future for Infiniti. Of course, he has to say that. He has to have them to buy into the future of the brand, because the future of the brand is shakier than it's ever been right now. The dealers are happy. I don't buy that at all, because their volume has dropped. Yes, profitability is up, but I'm sure they wish they were selling over 100,000 vehicles per year like they were just a couple of years ago. And product is just going to come out so slow, and they need new product like years ago. But we won't have essentially an update on Infiniti until March probably of 2023. So guys, we're like 6 to 9 months away before we hear anything from Infiniti again. And that's just probably the QX80 monograph and maybe some concept images. So it's going to be a tough sledding for Infiniti. I wish them the best, because when Infiniti's finally firing all cylinders, the whole luxury segment is better. They had some of the best V8s in the game in the 90s, and even now the 5.6 liter V8 is phenomenal. They had incredible styling with the G series and the Q series and the M series for so long. Even their current vehicles look really, really good, but a few missteps along the way. CVTs don't belong in their lineup. The lack of production, the lack of new product is hurting them. So anyways, I'm going to end there. What do you guys think? Do you think Infiniti can pull a rabbit out of the hat? Do you think they'll ever sell 153,000 vehicles again like they did in 2017 here in US? I don't see it happening. There's too much competition. And as long as they're profitable, that's all that matters. We want Infiniti to be around. Competition is a good thing. Genesis is outselling Infiniti right now, at least for the past few quarters. But I'm going to end it there. What do you think? See it in the comments below. Smash the like button if you enjoyed today's video. Subscribe, because I will update you on Infiniti when we get new concrete details. Catch you in the next one.